everybody, John12 back here again with another video, and I'm here with another top 5 list. Yes, it's that time of the week again, so let's get into this week's top 5 list. Now, of course, last time I gave you my top 5 Goku fights in the Dragon Ball Z anime. Yes, I gave you a top 5 list of the best and my personal favorite and what I consider to be the most epic and badass fights that the character Son Goku has had in the Dragon Ball Z anime. Now, of course, now it's time to do Vegeta. Yes, Vegeta is another character that's had a lot of epic battles within the anime of Dragon Ball Z, and now I'm giving you a top 5 list of those said battles. Now, of course, like the last list, I do have a criteria, and of course, I will not be choosing any fights that Vegeta has had in the Dragon Ball Z movies, TV specials, GT, or Dragon Ball Super, and especially Dragon Ball, considering Vegeta has no appearance in Dragon Ball the anime. So, with that being said, and of course, with all my lists, they're subjective. It's my personal list, my personal thoughts. So, of course, once I'm done, in the comment section below, give me what your personal list is of the top 5 Vegeta fights of the Dragon Ball Z anime. Now, with that being said, let's get into this top 5 list. Coming number 5 has to go to Vegeta versus Raccoon. Now, out of all the many fights we get out of the Namek saga, Vegeta versus Raccoon and Vegeta, Gohan, and Krillin fighting the Ginyu Force is probably one of the most gruesome and badass fights out of this saga because it's just so brutal. I mean, Vegeta versus Raccoon is epic. It's amazingly animated, and it just shows how far they would go just to beat the crap out of each other. I mean, Vegeta, being the proud warrior that he is, will not give up, even he's getting his head pounded into the dirt, and Raccoon is so overly stupid, he doesn't even understand pain. So they're just beating the crap out of each other, and it's brutal and amazing. And it's personally my favorite fight out of the entire Namek saga, with the exception of a couple here and there. But overall, it's my favorite fight that Vegeta has within the Namek saga, and I just had to put it up there. It's just awesome. With that being said, coming up in the... And also, you might be thinking, well, why did you put that fight in there? Vegeta lost the fight with Raccoon. However, Vegeta may have lost the battle, but in a manner of speaking, he did inevitably win the war, because spoilers, in the anime of Dragon Ball Z, he actually lost his fight against Raccoon. However, when Goku is not paying attention after his fight with the Ginyu Force, he actually kills them all. So, at the end of the day, he lost the fight, but he won the war, in a manner of speaking. But with that being said, moving off that, going to number 4 on this list has to go to Vegeta versus Android 19. Now, originally for this list, I was going to go for Vegeta versus 18. However, considering the 19 fight has a lot more, I guess, interesting aspects about it in comparison to the 18 one, I decided to switch it around, even though they're both amazing and happen in a span of like the same 5 minutes. But with that being said, Android 19 was an interesting fight for several reasons. Number 1 being the appearance of Super Saiyan Vegeta. It's the first time we get to see Vegeta transform into this epic Super Saiyan transformation, and at the end of the day, it was a very epic moment for the character of Vegeta, and it was also a very interesting moment as a fan and as a viewer to see how did he do that, considering, like Krillin says, you would think that Goku and people like Goku becoming Super Saiyans, you would have to be pure of heart, you have to be loving and compassionate, and Vegeta completely breaks the rules because he's one of the biggest douches in the universe. So he completely destroyed the legend or the idea of how to become a Super Saiyan is. And of course, after this moment, it's kind of like the death of Superman. Like, after that moment, death doesn't mean anything. Becoming a Super Saiyan doesn't mean anything, because anybody can do it after that. So it is what it is. But however, it's still epic to see the character of Vegeta become this Super Saiyan transformation, seeing as how he talked about it for the majority of his stay in Dragon Ball Z, and also his fight with Android 19 is just brutal and insane. He's just toying with the guy. He's beating the crap out of him. He tore off his arms, people. He tore off his freaking arms. It was freaking awesome. Moving off of that, and going to number 3 on this list has to go to Vegeta versus Semi-Perfect Cell. Now, at the end of the day, Vegeta's fights with Cell were very interesting and very epic. However, the one that he has with Semi-Perfect Cell, once he is absorbed Android 17, has to be the most brutal and amazing and comedic fights that Vegeta has in Dragon Ball Z, because he's just beating the crap out of Cell, and he's just toying with him, and he's just showing off. This is basically Vegeta's peacock moment in all of Dragon Ball Z. he knows he's superior. He knows he's better. He is Super Vegeta, as he points out in the actual anime, and he's just beating the crap out of Cell, and it's so hilariously awesome. And of course, at the end of the day, he does kind of mess up by letting Cell become his perfect form. However, very similar to a lot of fights on this list, very specifically the Vegeta versus Raccoon fight, Vegeta loses the fight. He loses the battle, but he wins the war, considering that he is the one who gives the final blow to Perfect Cell that allows Gohan to defeat Cell with his Super Kamehameha. So with that being said, in a manner of speaking, Vegeta gets the last laugh on a lot of his fights. Even though he loses in them, he eventually wins at the end of the day in a separate story arc. So at the end of the day, Semi-Perfect Cell versus Vegeta is awesome and badass and hilarious to look at. However, he does lose once he becomes Perfect Cell, but then wins in a manner of speaking. But with that being said, and moving off of that, let's get into number 2 on this list, which has to go to Vegeta versus Majin Buu. Vegeta versus Majin Buu is an epic, badass fight. It's very interesting to see how Vegeta has really changed through the years. Obviously, this is taking place right after his fight with Goku. Once he becomes Majin Vegeta, and I think the one aspect to take away from this fight, specifically out of the many fights in this top 5, is the fact that this is the first fight that Vegeta has where he's not fighting for himself, and that's what makes it special. It may not be the most amazing fight, but it has a lot of compassionate reasons and reasoning when it comes into the fight, because he's fighting for not himself, maybe not even for the planet Earth, but he's fighting for the two people that might actually matter in his life that Goku continuously points out to him in his previous fight once he becomes Majin Vegeta, which is Bulma and Trunks. And I feel like that's the point where Vegeta became his own person and discovered that, yes, there's a point to all this, there's a reason to fight other than yourself, and to become stronger, and just to be better than this person who I hate, which is Goku, and I can do other things with my life other than that. And I feel like that's the turnaround moment for Vegeta, and it's an amazing moment, and the fight with Majin Buu just fuels into that, and it's just an awesome fight. I mean, there's so many great poses, screenshots, moments within the fight that Vegeta or Majin Vegeta has with Majin Buu, and of course the epic conclusion with his final blast, explosion, suicide mission, if you will, just destroying everything around him, and of course Majin Buu in the process was just amazing, heartfelt, very cry moment, if you will, and just epic to look at, and just to know that this is the day that this character is dead, and that's it. Of course, once again, death is irrelevant in the world of Dragon Ball to a certain extent, so he does come back at the end of the day, and of course Majin Buu does come back hilariously for various reasons, but that's story arcs that are out of reach for right now. But at the end of the day, the fight itself within the context of Vegeta versus Majin Buu is amazing to look at, and is also a very amazing moment internally and I guess emotionally, in comparison to just seeing like two characters fight each other. It's like, oh cool, fighting! It's like there's a lot more emotional things going on other than just Vegeta pounding some bubblegum asshole. But with that being said, moving off of that, let's get out some honorable mentions that of Vegeta fights that are amazing but did not get on this list but are still awesome and watchable. With that being said, Vegeta versus Gohan is obviously badass. Vegeta versus Krillin Gohan is also really cool. Vegeta versus the Captain Ginyu and the Ginyu Force. Vegeta versus Frieza. In multiple forms that he had fights with Frieza. Vegeta versus Android 20. Vegeta versus Android 18. Vegeta versus Perfect Cell. Vegeta versus obviously the Goku again. Super Saiyan Goku as Majin Vegeta. Vegeta versus Super Buu as Vegito, which is pretty interesting. Once again, if I'm including fusions, Vegito versus Super Buu, and of course, finally, Vegeta versus Kid Buu. But moving off of that and going to number 1 on this list has to go to, of course, Vegeta versus Goku. If you've seen my previous list, you already knew this was coming. Vegeta versus Goku, the first fight, not the second fight when he becomes Majin and they're both Super Saiyan 2s. No, the first fight in the Saiyan saga, the Saiyan arc, and it's hands down the best fight I've ever seen in my life. Once again, I'm going into that spiel. It's like, yeah, it's the best anime fight. It's the best Dragon Ball fight in history. It pretty much defined my childhood. It's the greatest fight ever in existence. and these characters are pretty much the greatest fighters in fictional history. It's an awesome fight. Anybody who tries to downgrade or shit on that idea that I just put out there is stupid. Don't listen to them. Vegeta versus Goku and/or Goku versus Vegeta, hands down the greatest fight in anime history, and I just said that, so I'll take the heat and the brunt of it, but I'm sticking with that claim. I'm sticking to the claim. It's the greatest fight, it's the most epic fight, and my favorite fight ever. And in Dragon Ball Z anime, it's hands down the best. I mean, come on, the animation's amazing, the story's amazing, the fight is just great, it's godly, it's amazing. This is back when toy animation was awesome, before they started fucking up with Dragon Ball Super. It's an amazing fight, people, and it's the best that Vegeta has within the entire anime of Dragon Ball Z. But with that being said and done, I hope you guys enjoyed. This has been my top 5 list of Vegeta fights within Dragon Ball Z anime. Of course, once again, going down the list, Vegeta versus Goku, Vegeta versus Majin Buu, Vegeta versus Semi-Perfect Cell, Vegeta versus Android 19, and of course, finally, Vegeta versus Raccoon. Now, with that being said, let me know what you personally think, and of course, your personal list in the comment section below of your top 5 Vegeta fights. And of course, next time I'll be giving you my top 5 Piccolo fights. Yes, the best fights the Super Namekian has had within the Dragon Ball Z anime. And hopefully he has some more in Dragon Ball Super, even though I highly doubt it. But with that being said and done, I hope you guys enjoyed. And of course, comment below. Shameless plug time. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Jock12. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. And I hope you guys enjoyed. And this has been Jock12.